So now we're recording. We're getting ready to go here. So yeah, let's do a quick intro and then we'll go for it. All right. Welcome, guys. This is the Righteous Finance Show. We have an amazing show prepared for you today. It's going to be so cool. So if you like this stuff, remember to subscribe, like, share, and click that ring the bell button so that we make more of this content. If you want to see more of it, then you can be notified when it shows up. My guest today, I'm very excited to have him on. Super excited to have him on the show. He is a director, a teacher, an artist, and a recognized protein purification chemist. That's going to be such an interesting show, man. But his name is Jason Tong, and he's on the show, man. How are you, How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on today, Arjun.
Thanks for coming. It's my pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Mm-hmm.
So how are things going now with all this coronavirus stuff and COVID stuff for you?
Yeah, I'd say things are going as well as could be hoped. I've had a chance to do a lot of networking and just connecting with some great people. I am doing some networking a lot with people in like the movie industry recently, and things are going pretty well. We're actually in like the works of like signing distribution deals from like a couple of like pretty big places, and people are now hitting me up with like, you know, projects and trying to get me on like opportunities and stuff. So yeah, it's just been like cool to network with people. And I've had a really good chance to also work with some great people in finance as well. I actually met you, Arjun, when we first started like building a program called Future Financing. It's an online platform that educates people on finance and connects them with professionals that can help them plan for future goals. And it's great that you're building a channel and you're connecting with your audience on righteous financing as well. So happy to be here.
Yeah, man. And that's something that it was funny that last time we talked and you told me about future financing, I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's kind of like a similar thing that I'm thinking about making. So I'm glad that we had that connection. I think we connected on LinkedIn first, right? Is that how we, I don't remember. Is that how we connected?
Yeah. I actually had a chance to introduce you to one of my colleagues as well. His name was Sam, and we had a chance to connect and talk a little bit. So it was cool.
Yeah, the guy with the nice office side with office with the windows, right, with a nice view.
Yeah. That's maybe next time we get on the show, I'll show you like around the office and stuff.
Yeah, when the virus is all gone and stuff.
Definitely, man.
Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of things going on. You have a production company called Dream Vengeance, right? And then you're also a financial representative for Northwestern Mutual, right? And then you also have an e-commerce company as well. So
yeah, that one's called Lucky Dealers.
Lucky Dealers. Yeah, tell me a little bit about all those things. Tell me what you do, like how you help people, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really big on creative projects. I love to tell like compelling stories that inspire people. I love to teach. I actually spent 3.5 years teaching middle school over in Oakland, and we were right next to the Oracle Stadium, so it was really fun to have them winning championships and stuff right next door. It was like super exciting. And one thing that I realized while I was teaching was, I mean, we cover a lot of topics like, you know, math, history, science, you know, the standard stuff, but nobody really talks about finance. Nobody really, you know, educated, I'd say like our younger students on, you know, what it means to be like financially responsible. And that's one thing that kind of got me interested in exploring finance as a subject. And now that I've had a chance to learn so much about it, I really feel like it's my passion to share the information that I've learned and to try to help people get on the right track and reach their goals ultimately.
Yeah, right on. That's one of the reasons that I started the show, is because we don't talk about money. We talk about things like love life, work life, family life, personal life, bicycling life, but we don't talk about financial life. It's not very common that you go and sit down with your friends or your family at the dinner table and start talking about, hey, you're only paying the minimum payment on your credit card. What gives, man? What's going on? right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a
Mm-hmm.
conversation that we talk about. Or how much are you making at work, or how much are you saving, how much are you investing for we don't talk about those things. So that's one of the reasons I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to start the show, is so that we could talk about these topics, kind of bring it out in front of
Mm-hmm.
people, right? Because they're very taboo. And I don't know how you feel about this, but growing up, like for me, I was always told we don't talk about money. There's just not
Mm-hmm.
something. You don't tell people how much you make. You don't tell people how much you have, how much you're saving. And it's sort of like, to me, it's like, well, why not? Because if you don't talk about it, how are people going to learn about it? How are people going to learn the
Mm-hmm.
basics of investing or saving or
Mm-hmm.
insurance or budgeting or money mindsets if we don't talk about these things? Like, we're supposed to edify and correct each other and grow in that way. That's how we get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think you bring up some really good points there. I'd say that there are people that kind of grow up learning to not talk about it. And I think that is, in a way, it's kind of avoiding a very important issue, right?
Yeah.
I'd say it kind of prompts you to think, okay, well, why are they not talking about it, right? Is it because there's an issue there? Is it because that there's some things that they would rather avoid? Like, why isn't it a topic that's worth like talking about? Because at the end of the day, and this kind of ties back into like some like subjects like financial independence and financial freedom, right? I mean, I'd say for me, and I think like the definition can change depending on who you talk to, but I mean, financial independence to me means that you are self-sufficient, you're earning and you're paying your bills like on your own. And I think financial freedom is something that's like, you know, you're free from the obligations of like your regular 9 to 5, and you don't have to worry about your income because you're set, right? And this ties back into like what we were talking about before. If people aren't talking about it, how can they ever plan to get to a place where they're financially free? If they really just don't talk about it, if they don't think about it, how can you ever reach that state without like proper education and support? So yeah,
Interesting.
definitely some important topics there.
So your definition of financial freedom is having enough money that you don't have to do anything, pretty much. You can do what you want rather than having to do something.
Yeah, to me, it feels like just the word freedom is like, okay, you are kind of the master of your own schedule. You're the master of your own destiny. You're not bound by any obligations. So that's what it means to me. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts were on that.
We'll get to that. I want to go back though to I want to ask you, like, how was it when you were growing up with your parents about money? What did they teach you? What did they not teach you? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I'd say I grew up kind of learning about just like working hard and just saving. Not so much on investing though. It was very much just kind of like work, earn your income, and just save it in a bank account, checking account, worst of them all. But
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't until later until I figured out like, hey, there's like lots of other accounts that you can be like utilizing to really kind of grow your wealth.
Right. So did your parents not teach you about those things? Did they teach you like everything that you needed to know in order to, be successful and go forth and pave your own path?
I'd say for me, I learned a lot of that independently. I got my first credit card on my own. And I'd say it's something where like they were kind of able to help me out in setting up like some basic things, but most of it was just kind of like independent.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you got your first credit card?
Early 20s.
Wow, right on. Was it
Yeah.
a flyer that came in the mail and you're like, oh, free money?
I think it was around the time where I started my first bank account, and then they were just trying to like sign me up for stuff. So yeah, it was just the whole package right there.
Did you so when you got your first credit card, did you spend like crazy on it? Did you feel like it's free money and get into credit card debt? Or did you view it as like a debit card and pay it off in full every month?
Pretty much like that, you know,
like a debit
use
card?
it as a debit card and just pay it off. Cause, it sounded like you would be charged interest and all that stuff. And I like the idea of getting the points. So it's just like, get the points, pay it off. It wasn't actually until I started Dream Vengeance and started producing like films, that was when like I started making a lot more purchases. So yeah, I mean, I'd say in terms of like credit cards, it's a very good tool to have, but you definitely have to be responsible with it. You need to know what's up.
Right. Because a lot of what I hear from people is that they get their first credit card and then they go crazy with it. Because you can spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 on it, rack up a balance, and you're only paying like $50 a month or $100 a month for the payment, right? I guess that's how they get you. But you didn't fall into that trap. You kind of knew already that the credit card is not free money. It's actually expensive money.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you see it in your statements, you know, you're seeing that interest charge in there. So, I mean, for me, it was pretty transparent, all things considered. Yeah. I think a lot of people can just kind of skip over that detail, like you said, and then just kind of go crazy and just swipe as much as they can. But yeah.
Why do you think that happens to some people?
That's a good question. I'd say I think that we're kind of in a society that promotes just like consumerism, you know. There's lots of advertisements out there that are just promoting the latest and newest like thing, you know, like the latest phone, the latest, you know, clothes and something like that. Especially when we're talking about like designer things. I mean, like those prices can really, you know, get out of hand. I know back when I was teaching over in Oakland, I had students that would be trying to like buy Gucci or whatever. And it's like, what are you doing, man? Like you're 13 years old. Are you trying to like, you know, like wear a Gucci belt or like an LV belt or something like that? Or like some kind of nice bag. And it's like, yeah, basically, you know, they're trying to be flashy. And it's like, okay, you know, it's really easy to spend when you're like trying to keep up with like the latest styles.
Right. You will never hear any advertisement on TV to spend less and to put off your purchases.
No,
it's always buy now and hurry up because the deal is going to go away. You're not going to be able to get this price tomorrow. So buy it now.
Yeah. I mean, that's sales, that's marketing. And I don't blame them. You know, because
not at all.
At the end of the day, they're companies and they're basically just trying to be competitive. They're trying to get the products and services to the people that want them. So yeah, that's capitalism. I'd say it's in a way it works. It's just you got to be responsible with what you're doing.
So how do you get to that stage of, because it seems like you're responsible with your money. If if somebody is coming down the road and asking you, like, or a client comes to you, right? I'm sure this has happened to you before. If somebody comes to you and they say I need to get more responsible with money. I don't know where to start. Help me, Jason. What should I do?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I have had a chance to connect with some clients before that are in a situation like that. I've had the chance to work with people that are super successful on one end and on the other end, not so successful and actually in quite a bit of a situation. I'd say the very first step is if, like you said, you know, somebody's going through like a hard time or in a place where they really need to improve their situation. The first step is to admit that you've got a situation and then like actually contact somebody like a professional who can help you there, right? So the very first step is to just realize, hey, like I've got to work on this. This is no joke. I can't be like what you said earlier. I can't be somebody that's just, I want to avoid it. I don't want to talk about it. We don't talk about money, but then just be like quietly suffering along the sidelines. Like that's not good. You know, you got to open up and be like, hey, I want to do something about it. I want to get better. So that's the very first step. I'd say the second step is probably just kind of getting a good inventory of where you're at right now, you know, with like just kind of figuring out, hey, so how much do you have right now in savings? How much do you have in debt? How much are you bringing on in income? So just kind of doing some housekeeping, just figuring out where you're at really. and then creating like a budget so that you can figure out, hey, how is my month to month going to look like from here on out? Maybe there could be a lot of expenses that could be cut out that you don't need, right? Especially if it's going to help you get to a better position faster. I think people can make a lot of sacrifices and just kind of figure things out and just just be more efficient with their income to get to a better situation. So budgeting is probably the next biggest step after that.
Yeah, I love that answer. That's amazing. I really like that answer, because when people think about finance, personal finance, and being good with it,
Mm-hmm.
like this is how I thought about it before I started getting in down into the weeds. Just like, and I did exactly the same thing as what you said. I realized, okay, what I'm doing is not going to work. It hasn't been working, and it's not going to serve me for the future. So I've been doing it wrong. I got to figure out a better way of doing it. And then I started with taking inventory, like just what you said. Make a budget, figure out your cash flow. But that's so basic stuff. Like I always looked at a budget like being it's so boring to do. I didn't want to do it. I had no reason to do it. Like I knew that I was okay. I was going to be able to pay my bills at the end of the month. But that's literally, I think, like that's what you start with. It's really boring. It's really like not sexy at all, because it's not like trading, day trading, or Bitcoin trading now is all the rage. Like really the fundamentals are simple, like just what you said.
Yeah, and I'd say if you're talking about getting into the trading, I mean that's the exciting stuff, like you said. But in order for you to really get there, I mean it's just most efficient for you to get the foundation first. Like build your house before you start living in it.
That's right.
So yeah,
build your house before you start living in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd live in it otherwise. No windows, no door.
Yeah.
I built mine upside down. I did it the wrong way completely. I started with investing because that's what everybody talked about. Well, first I got my cash flow sorted out. I figured out how much I'm making and whatnot, how much I can save, and then everything that I saved, I invested. But there's components that I was missing. Like I didn't make an emergency fund. I didn't review my insurance and protection. And those like go on the bottom. Those you're supposed to do those before you get to the investment parts, because if you have a bad situation happen, right? I'm sure you know this, right? Then the investments don't last very long. But yeah, oh, that's amazing. So when should you ask for help with finances? Because there's all this information online. Everything that I can provide to somebody and you can provide to somebody is online. It exists in books and articles. When should somebody like ask for help or seek the help of a financial professional like yourself?
I would say as soon as possible, right? Because the sooner that you get started, the more time that you have to really kind of grow your wealth, right? So if you were to start, let's just say in your early 20s, right? And you wanted to, let's just say your goal was to reach like $1 million. You could conceivably do that with like much less than if you were to get started like later on down the line, like when you're 40 or you're 50, right? You're going to need to put in a lot more money if you were to start later in order to reach the same goal. So getting started getting started sooner is just going to snowball into like a really big thing, like over time, right? So getting started on it sooner is better, right? I would say even for like my middle school students back in Oakland, 13 or so, it would have been great to already had a chance to like speak to somebody and just kind of get an idea of where they're at and where they want to go within the next few years. Because I think each person and each case is different. So for example, if somebody wanted to grow up and be like a lawyer or a doctor, they might have a different plan than somebody who wanted to grow up to be like a basketball player or like a rapper or something like that, right? So it really depends on case to case, but I would encourage people to get started sooner rather than later. And it's never too late, right? Even if you're like later on in your years when you find out about this stuff, I mean, you could still get started. There's no reason to not speak to somebody today.
Right. There's the whole tree analogy of planting the seed. But if I go on, like, if I follow some finance people on Instagram and they post some memes about how it's better to save early because of compound interest, like I can learn
Hmm.
that stuff, right? I can realize, oh, it's best if I start investing today, right? The
Hmm.
best time to start is right now. But
Hmm.
why should somebody, like, why should somebody come and ask for help?
Yeah, because there's a lot of information that's out there, and I think that sometimes people misinterpret that information. So I'd say it's kind of like, do you want to would you rather spend like years and years studying this stuff, or would you rather talk to somebody who's already studied this stuff for years and years and come across like countless other cases that may be similar to yours already and just has it all figured out already, right? Or is in a much better position to explain it to you in a way that makes sense, right?
Right.
And there's the education component, and there's also the accountability component. The sooner somebody talks to a professional, the sooner that they can kind of be like, okay, so this is the assessment of where I'm at. This is the assessment of where I'm going, and just really have somebody that's accountable. Be like, hey, I'm checking in on you, like maybe once or twice a year, just to see if you're on track to reaching the goals that you said you were, right? Because it's one thing to learn the information, it's another thing to execute it and actually be disciplined enough
Yeah.
to follow through the game plan. So that's why it's
100%.
important to talk to a professional or actually have somebody working with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. The accountability part is huge. The coaching part
Hmm.
is huge.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely.
So how do you a common thing when people, like, one of the objections people have to getting financial advice is
Hmm.
that they think it's very expensive and they pay high fees and whatever, right? And they would rather invest that money into their investments rather than paying a fee for an advisor. Um, so how do you get paid?
Yeah, so I'd say with a lot of financial advisors, a lot of their consultations and just meetings are at no cost to the individual. And
Right.
I'd say with the program that we're building, future financing, I'd like it to be something that is a very affordable program for people, right? Because I totally understand if it's somebody who is in a hard situation right now, they might not have the resources available to like get some help, right? So I'm really focused on providing value up front, and in terms of like the fees and all that, I'd say the best way for like professionals to kind of create like a model is to earn when their clients earn, right?
Mm.
So, for example, if it was like earning something off of like an investment, maybe they could take like a percentage of like a commission or something like that, right? But I'm really all about like providing that value up front and helping people that even feel like they might not be able to afford it, like working with them to make sure that we can get something to get started.
Yeah. Like, there's a stigma there that, oh, I mean, you're helping me out for free, but you're going to get paid somehow or another down the line, right? So, that's kind of like, people know that it's not for free because you're eventually going to get paid. But that's, I don't know, that's just how the industry works.
Hmm. And to that, I would say that whenever anybody is producing any kind of like product or service, I mean, it should be fair that that person get compensated, right?
Right.
So I'd say like it should be designed in a way, it should be structured in a way where both people are building wealth, right? So
That's
the
right.
the person who is like who's trying to get their finances in order, I mean, their financial situation should be getting better over time, right? The service should be helping that person, and at the same
Right.
time, the advisor or the professional that's helping them, they should be also benefiting from the situation, right? So ideally, it would be mutually beneficial for both people.
Right. And I think transparency is important there. On, like, the
Hmm.
client should be aware how the financial professional is getting paid too,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it's a relationship kind of,
Hmm.
right? I think
Definitely.
the accountability and the coaching is a big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
you had mentioned before that like financial personal finance or educating people about money was your passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
What made that your passion?
Yeah, I'd say one thing that kind of really got me excited about it was just meeting with the people that like felt like it was a positive experience for them. It's definitely like a very rewarding experience when you talk to a client and they're saying, you know, like what a great job you did, and it felt like they've really changed the way that they think about their finances, and like them being on track to reach their dreams, whether to be to save for a home, whether it be to build their business. Like once they feel like they're on track and you're kind of helping them along, I feel like that is a very rewarding experience.
So what does that like feel like?
I'd say it's kind of similar to helping like a student learn math or helping a student learn computer science, right? When they reach that level of like accomplishment, when they feel like they've done something that they're proud of, it makes you feel proud to be part of that.
So that's how you is that how you know that it's your like your passion? When you help somebody accomplish something good, then you feel like good about it.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's always nice to be appreciated for what you do, right? And it's amazing to be able to connect with people and feel like you're really making a difference in their lives.
Do you have any other passions other than money? 'Cause I know you're a director, you have Dream Vengeance, and you're doing an
Hmm.
e-commerce as well. What
Hmm.
else? What else are you passionate about?
I'm really passionate about education. I feel like we're kind of living in uncertain times. We're living in a different world compared to a couple of years ago. I think there's a lot of change that's in the air. And I think there's also there's positivity in some communities, but there's also a lot of negativity that's in our world today. And I think that our future generation, uh, uh, like our young students, they might be getting into a situation where they need to be prepared for the future, right?
Mhm.
And I'm hoping our schools and our education system is going to be able to keep up with that because the world's changing really fast. It's not like, 10 or 20 years ago when people weren't even really talking about AI as much as they are right now, right? Like there's just so many more efficient ways for humanity to just create products and services now to where in order for our future generations to keep up with these artificial intelligences and all these advances in technology, their skills and their mindsets really have to be elevated and catch up in order for them to be productive members of society in the future.
Okay.
Did you have a question about that? You're being really silent there.
No, so how is the? I was just waiting for you to say something else.
I feel like
How
that
is
hopefully answer your question.
how
Like
is the
what I'm
world?
passionate about, it's education.
How is the world different than it was like 10, 20, whatever years ago?
Yeah, I'd say, like I said earlier, we're seeing like huge advances in technology to where I'm not sure if you've had a chance to connect with or like maybe look over like just the news and stuff, but there's been people that have kind
I'm
of
trying
been
not to.
more,
Trying to stay away from the
yeah,
news.
yeah, I hear you. But like maybe you've heard of situations where people are saying like, oh, certain industries are just obsolete now,
Right.
right? Because, for example, like trucking, people that drive big rig trucks and just deliver products
Right.
like from coast to coast. I mean, if you got self-driving cars, well, now that entire industry, that entire like job line is kind of like automated now, right? So that's what I meant by like, hey, people, our future generation needs to catch up in terms of the education so that they can be better prepared and not lose their jobs or their careers to robots or artificial intelligence in the future. So that's what I meant by like education kind of needs to catch up, because I would really like to see our students performing well, performing better in like education today. And that's just one thing that I'm passionate about. There's obviously like loads more that we could be talking about. Like,
So for
if we're
example,
talking about like,
if a little kid, you ask them what do they want to be when they grow up, and they say I want to be a truck driver, then the education is supposed to tell them, wait, hold on, this is what's happening in the truck driving industry. There might not even be truck drivers in 20 years. Is that what you mean?
Well, they should definitely know what's in store for them, what's ahead in the future. I think if somebody were to like maybe have a dream like that, where they wanted to be a truck driver, or if they wanted to be, let's say, a factory worker, right? If they wanted to be something that could be automated conceivably. I mean, if you take a look at some, I think in Japan and like overseas, like internationally, there's already been I guess just automation on that front too, to where people could be going into like the flight terminals, and there could be like a robot there just kind of trying to book your flight, right? Somebody that's walking into McDonald's, I mean, like they've got these kiosks that are already kind of like downsizing on the cashier positions available, right? So I think it's just important for like our future generation to kind of be educated in fields that won't be as easily, I guess, just like outsourced to robots in the future, is what I'm saying. And yeah, I think education just needs to catch up.
But I don't think that's any different from how the world has been before. Because for one example, if you take the agricultural revolution, like before, I think something like 98% of the population was farming, food production. Now it's like, I don't know what the actual percentage is, but it's not 98. It's not even 10%, I don't think. I guess in a similar way, it's like if you're a truck driver, or maybe driving for taxi services, or at the checkout line and the cashier, it's kind of a similar paradigm that's happening.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think you bring up some good points, and I'd say nobody really has like a crystal ball to foresee into the future.
Wish I did.
To answer your question, yeah, no, right? I mean, we'd be all pretty like better off. But to answer your question about like my other passions, education is one of them, and just creating like entertaining stories, that inspire people. I'm really passionate about that.
Right on. Yeah. And hey, by the way, I watched your I think the promo or the trailer for
the trailer.
It was really nicely made.
Thanks, man.
To the watchers, check it out. I'll put the link in the description. It was really good. The production.
Thanks, man.
Amazing. Were you the editor on it too? Were you part of the whole production?
Yeah. It was really it was an amazing project, man. I was so thankful to be able to meet with such a great team. It was great because it was a way for us to be creative and create this like vision that can hopefully help people during these times where I feel like people are in need of some positivity.
I thought it was a really interesting concept too, that like what would MLK think about the way that the society is now and race relations if he was alive today? I thought that was a really interesting concept. That's what it is, right? Or did I get that wrong? Is that right?
That's one topic that we address in the film. It's not all about that. Okay. I'd say more than anything, Martin Luther King was a big like champion of equality amongst people and harmony. And I think that that's something that is very much needed today. I think that we're kind of living in an interesting time where in some ways it's very surprising how we're still talking about this, because this was years ago that they were talking about it during the civil rights movement and all that. And it would have been nice to say, hey, we're kind of in a moment here in humanity where that's not even an issue. We're focusing on bigger things now. But it seems like we still need a little bit more time as, as people to just kind of just get over our differences, just focus more on our similarities, realize that we're all on the same page. We're all on the same team at the end of the day. I see that you got the American flag back there. And you're like, we're both Americans. We're both trying to do our best here and try to support each other.
Yep. People have said that money is a great equalizer. And I think that what they mean is that the world would be a better place if everybody had financial freedom. That's like, you're obviously trying to help people get to financial freedom. You're trying to go to financial freedom yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Do you think if everybody had financial freedom, then the world would be a better place?
I would say that's a good question. It's a complex one in some ways. I think that there's good and bad to that. I'd say that it'd be nice if everybody was able to earn it, right? If they were able to actually, because at the end of the day, how do you earn money? You got to produce like a positive product or service. You got to be helping out society in some way, right? So I'd say if everybody, like you said, was able to get to financial freedom, I would have to say yes, but it depends on how they get there, right?
I see.
If they were actually able to earn it and everybody was able to reach financial freedom that way through earning it, then yes. But if it was like just handed to them where they didn't deserve it, then I would say that would kind of bring up some question marks, like, hey, why would somebody need reach financial freedom if they hadn't put in the work to earn it? It'd be like just it'd be like just handing like a 12-year-old or whatever, like a Mercedes Benz. Like what like why do you need a Mercedes? Or,
you can't even drive yet.
You can't even drive yet, like they've got to be in a position where they've earned it and they can appreciate it, to where I feel like that would be a situation where it might be beneficial for everybody to be financially free.
Very interesting point. What is it about not earning something, like being, like, let's say, given something in an inheritance or whatever, that would make it not a good thing?
Yeah, I'd say back to my earlier point, it's the concept of appreciation. And also I'd say if everybody were able to reach financial freedom without earning it, there would be conceivably less motivation for them to be productive members of society, right? If we're talking about everybody
and watch TV and be couch potatoes. Yeah.
Essentially. So ideally, it would be great for everybody to have financial freedom, but they've got to be responsible. They've got to earn it. And I think earning it is what kind of gets them to be responsible.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. So what do you think about the free money that people are getting from the stimulus, from unemployment, and like now they're even talking about paying you to go back to work, like go back to work benefits? What do you think about all that stuff that people are getting?
I'd say that it's all about just control at the end of the day. It's ways to control the population through incentivizing things and pushing out certain programs. I'd say it's very similar to like in the classroom, right? If you want your students to do their homework on time, maybe you could have an incentive program to that, give them points, give them prizes, treat them out to like a field trip, it incentivizes them to do a certain thing. And I'd say that this is just a way for like the government and our leadership to just kind of get people to move in a certain way. The stimulus checks is an incentive for people to stay at home to fight the virus, right? The money that people are getting to go back to work is saying, okay, we're transitioning out of the shelter at home situation and we're getting back on track and getting back to being normalized. So it's just all about incentive. It's just directing traffic at the end of the day.
That's amazing. Directing traffic. That's a really good analogy. because most people are going to do what you incentivize them to do. And I thought it when I read the part about paying you to go back to work, I thought, oh, that's really interesting. It's going to be more, if they pass it that way, it's going to be more than unemployment. So people are like, they're going to want to go to work because they get paid from work.
Definitely.
And then they get paid from the government to go back to work. So I'm like, all right. That's very interesting.
Definitely.
That's but I agree with you. I think people are buying votes right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's no coincidence that all this stuff is happening right before the election, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah. I mean, it's going to be exciting times, man. This is actually quite a year. You know, if you take a look back, we're at halftime right now. You know, we're at exactly halftime in 2020. Yeah. And there's a lot more game time. There's going to be a lot more updates, and it's an exciting world that we're living in, man.
It's such an interesting time to be alive. I was thinking about, like, you know how some people say that, oh, I wish I was alive in the 1920s, like the Roaring '20s, for example. What a time that would have been. That would have been super excited because of all the advancements and everything. And I think that guy with the egg, what's that guy's name? The book, the really rich guy on the Great Gatsby, right? Be alive in Great Gatsby's time. But I think these times are even better. This is more interesting.
No, definitely.
I'm calling the 2020s the soaring 20s.
Okay.
We had the roaring 20s 100 years ago. These are the soaring 20s.
The soaring 20s. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like that.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, man, I was just going to say that I think we're in a position now where there's a lot of advancements and there's going to be some big changes. But at the end of the day, as long as we're trying to stay informed and supportive of each other, we'll get through this just fine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think some people are kind of overreacting to this whole thing, and financially as well. Like, but I don't know. I think people, if you're not prepared for things like this, then that's going to happen, right? Then you're going to rely on like the government to support you, or your parents to support you, or whatever. Yeah, you got to prepare for this kind of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. And we're kind of in a time right now where people are looking to like learn more about finance, especially like what you said with unemployment. There are a lot of people that are out of work right now. There's entire industries that are kind of being shut down. So yeah, I would definitely encourage people that this is the best time for you to just kind of connect with somebody and make sure that you're on track to making the most out of your future.
Yeah, connect with Jason. Connect with Jason, guys. I'll put all your details in the description so people can like reach out to you. I want to ask you in particular, how what do you have a specific type of client that you help?
In terms of clients, I've had a chance to connect with everybody. I've had a chance to connect with like students, also like families, and also business professionals. I'd say that no matter where you are right now, like there's definitely going to be like some kind of planning that you can do to make the most out of what you have and help you get to where you're trying to go to in the future.
Right on. Cool. So we talked a little bit about teaching children financial literacy and being responsible with money. Who's ultimately responsible for financial literacy?
I'd say like everybody's responsible for like learning it on their own, right? Yeah. And like you want to be master of your own destiny at the end of the day, right? And if you know something, you're going to have a lot better chances of success. Yeah. So yeah, like at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own education and your own outcome. So we all are responsible.
That's incredible. I thought you were going to say the schools or the curriculum or something. But yeah, I love that answer. That's amazing.
Thanks.
So what is money?
So I would say money, it's currency, right? It was something that we developed over like 100,000 years ago. It's how we trade goods and services. And it's just the system. It's like the backbone of our society today. This kind of goes back into what we were saying before about directing traffic. It's what gets people to move. It's what gets people to trade, right? Without it, I mean, like, you might be somebody that's saying like, hey, I want like a new, I want to have some steak, right? Like, I want to have some steak for dinner.
Yeah.
Well, you would need to like go into your inventory. You would need to go out and meet with somebody physically, and you'd be like, okay, I'm looking for some steak. And they'd be like, oh, I'm looking for some light bulbs or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to like trade in a more inefficient way, or, you know? So I'd say money is like
inventory.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay,
but currency is just a system. It's just a way for us to trade goods and services, and it really helps us be efficient with like our time and our resources.
Yeah, that way you don't have to carry around a bunch of oxen or sheep or hammers. You just have something very convenient.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that definition of money has been sort of lost on us, because I don't know why actually, but one of the reasons I think might be because money has turned into numbers on the screen a lot.
Definitely.
Bank balance is like, oh, I have this much money. I guess I guess that's what I'm worth. But I don't know. I don't have the answer or the solution or the reason why that happened. But it's interesting how we look like a lot of people look to money as the thing that's going to solve all their problems.
I don't think so. I'd say because a lot of what people are struggling with is, it could be a lot of things. It could be like relationships. It could just be like self worth, self value, and that's not something that you can put like a dollar amount on.
All right. Yeah. And tying it back to your idea of like the best way to have financial freedom is to earn it. And that's kind of the same thing. It's like, if you earn all like money is like a tool, right? Kind of like what you said. And if you acquire the tools in a way that you respect the tool, and you understand what it's for and what it's not for, what it is and what it isn't, then you're gonna, I don't know, you're gonna have a better life, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But whereas if you're just given all this money and you don't know like how to use it or what it is, then you're kind of stuck. Maybe that's why people want to win the lottery.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, people, historically speaking, people that have won the lottery, generally it doesn't work out too well for them. Because again, like, they didn't earn it, right? They just hit the jackpot, and then now they're in this position where they just feel like they can just kind of spend money however and not be responsible with it. There's also, well, technically they were. I mean, like, when you hit the lottery, you are rich, you know, by definition, because you've got so many millions of dollars, you are rich. It's just mentally speaking, they might not be at the same, at the right level to somebody who actually earned that legitimately, right?
Right. You don't have that mindset. You still have a poor mindset, even though you have a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. 100%. So, I mean, that's why it's important for us to like earn that financial freedom ourselves through that perseverance.
Yeah.
So
when you reach financial freedom, what are you going to do?
You mean me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
Okay. I'd say I would say I would try to give back as much as I could. You know, I'm the type of person who, once I become financially free, as long as I feel like I'm taken care of and I'm doing what I want to do with the people that I want to do it with, my friends and family are pretty much well connected and taken care of. At that point, it's just all about helping the community. So it's kind of been a dream of mine to be able to start a school in the future. So I would like to do that. Like, as a teacher, I've seen some things in like our school districts that I wish were better. I wish that our teachers were better supported. I wish that the students' families were kind of like better connected, or maybe coached a little bit more sometimes, because for our students and our future to do well, like, everything's got to be working right. The curriculum's got to be on point. The teachers have to be on point, and also the family's got to be on the same page. So everything's got to be working right for our students to really become better faster, right? So yeah, I think that that's really something that I'm really passionate about doing in the future, because I mean, humans, we could be around for a long time if we play our cards right, keeping it real. Like yeah, man, like our technology is getting better every single day. And like we could be around for a long time if we're just all working together and we're not like caught up in random stuff that just like divides us. So ultimately, I like to spread a message that hopefully helps people get together and work together.
Wow, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is you said I mean, financial freedom happens when your needs are taken care of and you're able to do what you want with other people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
How
definitely.
far
I'd say
how far away from you are that? How far away from that are you right now?
not too far away, man. I'd
Wow.
say like I'm already in a great position. I don't have to worry about a lot of things. I'm with great people, and I'm making some great connections. My family and my friends are, happy. We still keep in touch. I'm doing what I want to do every day, So I mean, get to do some cool stuff, man, and connect with great people like you. Um, for me personally, I feel like it's
Thank
really
you.
close to getting. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm really close to getting to that next level.
Right on. That's awesome. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. That's not an answer I hear very often. Do you have a
Mm.
number?
Yeah, I
You have a
do. I
number.
mean, I could
Oh,
share.
okay.
Oh, you mean a number for like my phone number? Or are you talking about the number that I need to get to?
No,
What are you
like
talking about?
people have a number that they need to reach, like portfolio value, in order to be
Oh,
financially free. Do you have one of those?
at this point, not really, because for me personally, I feel like anybody that says, "Oh, I need this
Yeah,
number for me to be happy," is just, well, once you reach that number, are you sure you're gonna feel
that's right.
happy or whatever? Like
Yeah,
it could just be like, oh, now I need 2 million, now I need 10 million, right? I need to get to the next level, right? So
yeah, yeah.
I'd say that happiness and that contentment is just kind of like it starts within you. It's a mindset.
Right. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a number, but I don't have a number anymore.
Okay. Okay.
That's
What
amazing.
what um what changed that for you?
Um, I saw that a lot of the people that I was following, they
Mm-hmm.
reached financial independence, and it didn't seem like their life changed dramatically in the way that they were expecting,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was expecting. So that made me look at my life and say, wait a minute, what would I really do if I reached financial freedom and I didn't have to do anything?
Mm-hmm.
What would I do? And then I didn't have a good answer for it. And then I made a whole bunch of very emotional decisions. And then I
Mm-hmm.
came out of it realizing, like, oh yeah, I was an idiot. It's
Mm-hmm.
that it was stupid. I was putting like financial freedom as my goal, as my God, and I was
Mm-hmm.
directing my entire life around achieving that one goal. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
took a step back from it, I was like, well, what the heck am I doing? That's dumb. So yeah, that's why
Mm-hmm.
it changed it. And for me, I don't know what the number is, because the number, if you go on like the 4% rule or whatever, it's like 25x of what your expenses are. I don't know what my expenses are going to be next year. I barely know what they're going to be next month. So it's impossible to plan. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the first 2 years that I budgeted, I put a spending forecast and I hit that number exactly within $100
Mm-hmm.
for 2 years. And that
Mm-hmm.
made me realize that whatever goal that I set for myself, like let's say I set a number and I'm going to retire on 50,000 a year. Then when I'm
Mm-hmm.
60, I'm 65, whatever, that's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the foresight to know what is going to cause me to be fulfilled when I'm retired.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to focus on it today, and whatever happens in the future, that's whatever happens in the future. We'll wait and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't have any number. As long as I have a roof over my head, I got some food to eat, and I got fulfilling stuff
Mm-hmm.
to work on, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
great, man. It sounds like you were able to learn a lot about yourself there throughout that journey.
yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing journey. I'm glad that I did it, even though I did a lot of stupid. Like I was really stupid. I'm glad that I went through that. I want to ask you. So, I want to go into the RFQs here. All right,
Mm-hmm.
the rapid fire questions, and then we can go into the after show if you have time. The after show. Ooh, the after show. Ooh. And then I want to give you the chance to, broadcast your message. I'm going to shut the hell up, and you can say whatever you want. Share your stuff. But real quick, what is an emergency fund?
An emergency fund is something that it's kind of like a rainy day fund. If something happens, you're going to have resources to work with to get you through the hard times.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you set one up?
Well, it would generally be an amount that kind of prepares you to be in a position where you don't need to work, or it gives you like freedom. It gives you time at the end of the day. So depending on who you talk to, some people might have an emergency fund for 6 months. Some people might have an emergency fund for a year, right? So classic example would be somebody becomes disabled, somebody gets hurt or something, or hospitalized, and then they're just out of commission for like a period of time. Your emergency fund is designed to make it so that you can weather through that storm and get back on track.
So emergency fund is like temporary financial freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you need it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, that's an interesting definition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. So are you ready for the RFQs?
Oh, I thought that was the beginning. Okay, yeah, go for it.
No, that was just the last question that I wanted to ask. Do you have anything that you want to talk about or share before we get into that?
I guess we can get started.
Okay. All right. So the RFQs are just quick. Most of them are yes or no questions.
Okay.
So, all right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you scared?
No.
Okay, ready. First RFQ is, are you rich?
No.
Not rich.
No.
Interesting. Is money time?
Yes.
Do you love what you do?
Yes.
Right on. Should married couples join all financials?
Depends.
Okay, depends. Should you sign a prenup?
Depends.
Depends as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Is money the root of all evil?
That's a tough one.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. No. I would say no.
Does evil exist?
Yes.
Okay. Is the earth flat or round?
Round.
Would you become a flat earther for $7 million?
What does that mean, flat earther? Like, I got to believe that the world is flat for 7 million?
I don't know if you got to believe it, but if somebody asks you, is the earth flat or round, you just have to say flat.
For 7 million?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a lot of money to just say yes, that the world is flat.
So you would.
I mean, like, do you actually have to believe it? Do you have to actually like continue on and say that for the rest of your life? Or
you don't have to
how does that work?
You don't have to believe it. Like, you can still believe that the earth is round. Like,
okay.
But if somebody asks you, hey, is the earth round or flat? You have to say that it's flat. Like, you can't let on that
every single time. Every
single time. Otherwise, you lose the money automatic from your bank account.
Oh wow. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, you said yes, right? So you would.
I guess so. I'm just not banking on people asking me that often.
Okay. Next time you come on the show, or a show like this, we'll ask you. All right. Should you follow your passion because the money will come?
Yes.
Okay. Is money finite or infinite?
Infinite.
Infinite.
Yeah, I think they could just keep printing it out if they wanted to,
Right.
right?
Interesting.
If they wanted to make it digital, they could make it infinite.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should you pay for your children's college education? Or I should ask, will you pay for your children's college education?
Me personally, or are you talking about like just conceptually if people should?
Both.
Both. I would say for me, I would like to provide in any way that I can. I would say that for everybody, I think that it kind of depends on families and their situations. I think that there's some great like government programs and stuff available, and you can definitely make it on your own. Hopefully, in the future, that'll stay the same, where people can still get a quality education and be able to self-fund it.
So should people do that? Yes, or should they not?
Yes. Yes.
People should.
Yes.
Okay. Once your kids turn an adult age and they can provide for themselves, should you give your kids money and shelter?
I say I would do it because it would make me happy to be able to provide for my children. So yes.
But should you?
Should?
Yeah.
I would say yes, unless there's a reason why I shouldn't. Like I'm trying to
Okay.
teach them a lesson of being like independent or being responsible. I would say if I have the means to do it, I would.
So if you have a kid and your kid is like 25 years old and they say, "Hey, I lost my job and I can't pay my rent," and he comes to you and says, I need money, or I need to move in or something, then you should say, "Yes, come on in," or "Here's some money."
Yeah, I mean, that if that's your son, like you said, and they're kind of experiencing a hard time, I don't really see why a father would not at least try to accommodate that. Obviously, try to get your son back on track to where they can be independent again. But if they're coming to you in a time of need and they need help, I think it would definitely be right to help them.
Okay. Are you in the rat race?
Yes.
Are you stuck in the rat race?
No. I feel like I'm in a position where I'm networking, I'm creating opportunities. So hopefully in the future, I can get to that level of being out of the rat race and being financially free, hopefully soon.
Okay. Is the rat race real?
Yes.
Can you buy freedom?
Yes.
Interesting. Last question is, what would you do if you had unlimited money?
Unlimited money, huh? I would probably hire a lot of people. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is you just hire a lot of people and then what?
I would hire a lot of people and I would create projects for them to change the world. I think there's just so many issues that we could be tackling today. A person with unlimited money would be able to make a great difference in the world, right?
Okay.
Starting from the bottom up, man. Like there's just so many communities, so many people that need help that I think having unlimited resources would be able to just help you solve so many problems.
Like a grassroots movement. Like
Yeah.
if there was some kind of issue or policy or whatever, you would hire people to like maybe go and protest and say that we want these things and we want these demands, or
not so much on the protesting part, just more of the creating businesses part.
oh, got
Right.
it.
So
Okay.
yeah, for example, if we're talking about like I live in San Francisco, and we've historically had a situation going on with people just living out in the streets, right? So I think with unlimited resources, you could create like a program, or you could create a business that's dedicated to helping like rehabilitate those people or getting them to be in places where they really need to be, right? You could create a facility that specializes in taking care of people like that, right? That could be a great way for us to get them off the streets right there, right?
Did you hire them?
Imagine if like, hire who?
The homeless people.
The people on the streets?
On the street, yeah.
They would have to be trained or rehabilitated, but yeah, if they could become productive members of society, that would be amazing. That would be the ultimate change.
But of your company, you can like onboard them and train them.
Definitely, yeah. That would be an amazing project, man.
Cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then
and that'd just be one. That would just be one program.
And they wouldn't have to live on the street.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, I think if we were to solve that problem in San Francisco, I mean, what if we just created a huge apartment complex and we were able to house them in there, right? Have it be properly staffed so that the people that are on the streets can just go in there and live there. I think there could be some great programs like that could make a big change in our world.
Interesting.
So that's what I would do with unlimited money. I'd probably start programs like that.
Interesting. Yeah, that is a problem that we do have to solve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of solving it, though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually think that you don't even need unlimited money to do something like that, right?
Nope.
I think even with what we have today, I'd be very surprised if there were some people that couldn't just step in and just, snap their fingers and make it happen.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of living in a world today where like a small percentage of people of the population own a vast majority of the wealth. There's a huge gap in like just wealth today that I'd be very surprised if we couldn't get that accomplished today or within like the year or so. So hopefully that's something that can happen in the future.
Well, if you had unlimited money, you could easily, distribute money to everybody else to make the wealth curve flat.
I mean, I would say making the wealth curve flat, I'm not sure how that would look like in the world, but definitely could just kind of equalize things a little bit more so that there's not quite such a disparity between the rich and the poor, and hopefully having more people out of poverty. I mean, ideally, we would have nobody in poverty, right? I mean, we live in 2020, man. We live in the age of, artificial intelligence and like so many advances in technology that how is it that we haven't solved something like, poverty or just housing? It's amazing, right? Because I think we have a lot of resources that we could just be like allocating differently.
Very interesting. But what I mean by like, you can, when you say that there's an income disparity, yeah, there's certain people who have a lot more money than other people. Like you could just give the people that don't have that money enough money to make, like, how the wealth curve looks like this?
Yeah.
Like you can make it flat by just giving everybody here money to go up to there. You know what I mean? So like everybody would have that in their bank accounts.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And I think this kind of goes back to our point earlier. I'd say it'd be best if people could earn that, right? So that way they would feel like there's some kind of responsibility. They feel like there's some kind of accomplishment in actually getting that amount of money versus just having it directly sent to their bank accounts. Then conceivably what you have is a whole bunch of lottery winners, right? Like now they're all just kind of throwing that money out the window because it just got like, it was just transferred to them, right? They got to earn it, man. But it would be nice to train them, give them opportunities to where they could, elevate themselves.
So you could open up the world's worldwide training and wealth building camp.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
And hire a lot of people. You need a lot of people to do that.
Yes, hiring people. Definitely.
So like hire everybody in the world. To almost, right? If they're not hired by
hire everybody.
if they're not hired, then they're part of your program.
Yeah, that'd be amazing
Man. That's
to hire
amazing.
people. Yeah, man, hire everybody to do what they love, and then that's it right there, man. If we could do that, we could get to like the next level so much sooner.
Wow. What is the next level?
The next level is where, if we're talking about humanity as as humans, right? The next level is where like we're all united, right? So I would say we just got to take steps. I'd say America needs to be united first, because there were times where we were all united. There was like not so much division. We were all harmonized. But the next level after that would be like just global harmony. If we were all on the same page, if the nation's leaders were kind of on the same page, man, we would be making so many more advances, man. We'd be a much better place. I think the standard of living for everybody would be elevated like 10 times fold.
Right. Yeah, it would. We just got to do it the right way, though. I think we're getting there. We're getting there. It'll take some time. But yeah, that's an interesting vision. It's an interesting vision. Okay. Yeah. Because of time, right? I want to let you have your broadcast, RFB. So this is the RFB section. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to say anything. You got 3 minutes you could do whatever you want. You could do a screen share if you want. You can tell more about your business. You can continue on. It's up to you, completely up to you. So yeah. And then we'll do the after show.
Yeah.
Ooh, the after show.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So what do you want to tell people, Jason?
I do feel like I've had a chance to speak so much already on the show. So I do want to appreciate you for that, Arjun. It's been amazing. I think it's just been a really great experience. And I appreciate you for doing something like this, creating like a program where you can connect with your audience. And for me personally, it's always great to be part of these like broadcasting events, part of these like radio shows, and just be able to talk and connect with warm audiences like yours. And I'm looking forward to connecting with more of you in the future. I'd say we're kind of in a time right now where there's a lot of things changing, but there's still a lot of potential. And I'm hoping that we can all work together. I feel like I've already had a chance to network and help so many people already that I'm always open to connecting with more people. And if like any of the topics that we touched upon today, if there's people out there that would be interested in learning more, I'd definitely be down to connecting with you in the future. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much what I had for now. I felt we had a chance to discuss so much already, Arjun, that maybe like in the future, if we're going to do more shows, maybe I could have like something I could share, like in terms of like a screen share, or just show you guys like a really awesome program. But yeah, I mean, I'd say for now, I think we're still building on like future finance. We're also trying to build on righteous financing. And I look forward to being able to create more in the future. So that's all I had, Arjun, for the 3 minutes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was a good message, man. I like it. I appreciate you for coming on the show too, and spending the time and talking with me. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I got to learn more about you, and you got to maybe learn a little bit about me too. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. It's been so good.
Yeah, man.
This is
it's good to be on here. And
this is probably my favorite show so far.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. That means a lot to me. Yeah, and I'm actually hoping to create more content in the future as well. I think one direction that I wanted to take future financing was to be able to like kind of create videos that explain financial concepts to people like episodes and curriculum that they can just access for free, right? So, I mean, I think we started off like with a really great topic today of like, what is money, So I think that that could be something that could be revisited possibly in the future, and maybe do an episode on it. I had some people contact me and they were saying like, hey, it'd be great to do like an animated portion of the series where like you could have kind of some visuals to go along with it, right? Because a lot of the concepts that we were talking about today, it really could have been, I guess, like enhanced if we had some like visuals for our audience to like take a look at, right? So like for example, back when we talked about like getting your steak, you know, like trading it for light bulbs or whatever, right? I mean, it would have been cool to like, you know, maybe see somebody, see some animations or some visuals that represent what money is. But I felt like we covered a lot of really interesting topics, man. And I know we had a chance to talk last time about collaborating and creating more content. So I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm on the same, I'm on the same like kind of like swim lane alignment as you are. Like, we just got to get this stuff out there so that people start talking about it. And I think when you sit down at the dinner table with your friends or your family and you talk about money, like why you're not paying more on your debts than the minimum payment, and that becomes like, ooh, shame, you should be paying more, then all of the financial insecurity and financial problems are going to like melt away. So
definitely. Yeah, and you bring up a good point. You bring up a really good point, man. I think like you were saying earlier, how people don't like to talk about finances, right? It was kind of like one of those hush hush topics. And then you brought up a second point. Sometimes people get shamed when they talk about it, and that's even worse because now it's going to get them to close up even more, right?
I'm saying that should be a thing. Like, you're only paying the minimum payment. Why pay more, man?
Yeah. Like here's the thing.
Mean you don't have money?
Like,
you can make money.
Yeah. I'd say
start a business.
Yeah, I'd say like paying down debts and paying down credit cards is definitely a big thing for sure. And there's definitely different ways to motivate people to do that. One way could be to shame them and be like, hey, what are you doing? You know, like, why aren't you doing it? And I've done that as a teacher before, man. I've done it as a teacher. It was like, you didn't do your homework? What are you doing? You know, I've done that before, man. And like, it gets the students to feel bad. And it's like, you know, when they feel bad, they might not listen as much as they would if they felt like if you were giving them like a positive emotion. So there's that negative, there's that negative way of motivating people to do things, and then there's a positive. There's tough love, and then there's like, you know, I guess just kind of like encouraging like language that you can use, right?
All right. So we got to work together then, because I'm gonna be the tough love side completely.
Oh, I mean, I'd say like there's definitely
you can inject the softer love.
Yeah, man. I'd say there's some people that really respond to that tough love, though. You know, there's people that really respond to that. So there is like a time and a place for everything, for sure.
Yeah. But right on, man. This has been amazing. I'm so glad that we had this, that we made this, and that this is going out. You know. And for sure, one of my other guests said, if one person watches this and gets some kind of insight from it, that's it. That's enough. So that's amazing, man. Thank you, Jason, for coming on the show. We're gonna move into the after show now. Ooh, the after show. All right. So thanks for coming on, man. Really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man. It was great to be here. Great to connect with the audience, and I hope we can create more content soon.
Absolutely. All right. Bye-bye, guys.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right. So now we're in the